Start as soon as possible.
Yeah. You can try to put the one in the splash right while I'm doing that to expedite the process. Yeah, that's what I think we should put it in the flash drive. Because we still have to give it to them. They couldn't look at the flash drive. That was what the problem was in the first place. warming, catastrophic, anthropogenic warming, happening, observable data, science, no consensus, confirmed, positive, data, with CAC 11, is people of the heating up the polar ice, can advantage permanently, with 90% constant warming, to do connecting activity, especially the reduction of carbon dioxide, temperature, convection, also oscillating parallel with that, use like a direct indicator of connectivity, future simulation of the simulated temperature of the earth, without concurrency of activity, much of the commercial population, such as the water next to the ocean, could have disaster effect on the global climate, consensus of climate change now, but the 90% we can't wait for some two actions to be too late, but the hair and Allison, 11 women from the clinical bare life, we find 90% consistency curve by the body, the vast curve levels between those which arguments about fair love, that is that gives laid moral, reverse scientific uncertainty, not all the age from responsibility, demand searching functions, very kind of our existence and immersion of conditions are reversible, the women's clothing is hardy, and 11, if we don't change direction now, we'll live beyond the minimum stage by 2050, 90% of the available carbon budget will be swallowed by our energy infrastructure, by 2070, we know we're from renewable at all, and three internally expressed as new generation, fixed key to optimize the market for renewable, with a master set in 10. The insurance priority utility priority to renewable energy sources, green connections, not feasible without nutrient production capacity, requiring utility to develop shared infrastructure, upgrade cost, and isolate data, involved in cost of renewable energy, cost of stability, for decreasing conditions, reducing market growth, guarantee price, policy to drive to increase competition, create the economy to scale, drive down the cost of net competition, the result of less expensive electricity, electricity sector scheme, believe that more than 11 electricity generation has 30% of use emissions of globally, the energy sector captures 70%. Any effort to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emissions will exclude forms in the electricity sector, renewable sources is the only sustainable solution, and nationally fit is a model globally and will solve resource shortages as lent 8 and 9. The U.S. sophisticated about the renewable energy industry where wireless tracking is extended, the worldwide development of renewables and benefits, the most significant benefits include improvement cost reduction, encourages decreased cost production costs, and cost of water, solving resource shortages, that's political confidence, hydrogen, coal, natural resources, deplete, the level loss of the stable the world's nation will compete for access to fossil fuels, game regions, use of chips, will bring by confidence, scale never seen before, the economic conditions towards the country become destabilized, not corrupt, directly lead to a rush of economic, military education, no for new international conflict, resource scarcity, formative conflict, and manifest significant conflicts with nations. The result will be economic and ecological ruin, and second is natural gas use. We locked into natural gas unless renewable alternative for developed natural gas causes methane release and fast warming of the North House and Jello for here. 12 gas with a lot of carbon in the atmosphere, methane leakage trends, why do the carbon benefit we need transition from gas renewables in order to reduce emission degrade up to avoid global warming, continue to drive down use emission goals and require that we develop alternatives that are better than cheaper than gas, and almost now cheap gas solar is close for achieving grid parity. There is no substitute for making clean energy fits falls in natural gas prices is blank and 9. Even though the unitary incurred relatively expensive forms of new methods, if you power more to walk off and other new methods policies because there's less risk means investors can get lower energy price, electricity enough driven by natural gas fossil fuel. You some EP power needed to get a large problem of renewable energy, you cut your data use of natural gas, bringing prices down and decrease natural gas use for energy production is essential to agriculture. This IECA3 natural gas is the only feasible feedstock for high ammonia, the building block for nitrogen fertilizer. Polarity, high level of use gas prices result in the closure of used nitrogen fertilizer capacity. The American nitrogen industry would like the operators to face global nutrition techniques salary. It's being accelerated high natural gas prices to prevent the most serious of the fertilizer sector and farmers, economy, better quality, and center viability of nutrition sector to prevent further dissemination of the nitrogen fertilizer industry using it. However, must get stabilized natural gas and use agriculture food production is critical to prevent world food wars of Luger and 2K. And a book talked by Gultierrez working into good such as Christian to feed the world need to produce state not only for conservation but peace and security working to feed the world with minimize global instability and proliferation use not to grow home food. This is the needs for fertilizer will be necessary to feed the world and food shortages will work with Calvin and 2. Poverty and crowd will cause most countries to try to take over their neighboring development because their armies will go marauding. Countries will attempt to use their armies to take over countries with significant remaining resources and significantly lead to third world war. And third is the green economy. Green economies keep control climate change, can keep soft through investment, and can meet the global energy demand as healthy and aid clean tech growth and factor in self energy demand and clean technology united to reduce commercial viability of the state by safe air significantly hamper innovation in the U.S. clean tech space. U.S. must enact a national renewable energy scheme to foster clean tech capital information and innovation. It faces the opportunity to provide 3 million new jobs directly and indirectly in this world, which constitutes legislative and instrumental creating a world-leading industry. 3 million jobs possible. Things should be higher as many U.S. small producers can participate in the sector and more technology will be supported. Population can care about other such programs and cost rates to generate increasing state installation of equipment in homes and businesses support that will be needed and ability to export renewables is the cornerstone of moving economic recovery. The jank to the left in the energy sector might become cornerstone of American economic rise as well. Ultimate economic price is factoring global energy markets which should double over 40 years that doors value today subsidy dependent and offer volatile clean energy markets supply and mass global markets rely on the whole clean energy technology revenue for significant opportunity 20% to the internet has reached U.S. energy policy rates happen this competence that takes Washington with Western private firms focus on revenue production rather than finding design and manufacturing processes. This must change in economic stagnation in nuclear war this millennium 11 the premature formally opposed as a failing system evolved to use nuclear weapons the president should provide thoughts of global economic systems like greater pressure with conflict peace and democracy global economic crisis because war strong statistics support that royal and federalism the global economy are associated with false power low transition and crisis production distribution business because of future expenditure trades the variable security nature state drop relations internal relations conflict during periods of economic downturn the weak economic performance in the U.S. are particularly linked to use force conflict correlated with external conflict as sudden dynamic national love and CO2 effects on the exchange of the Western North Bay carbon concentration throughout the ocean scarf from water to the rise to greater cities slows the growth of the social plan and shows Norway and the rock at the rules of the party the rest half of the ocean the city population will last for much longer potentially leading to extinction or 95 the risk of both conflict with talking with 11 village direction towards governments and collapse nations were faced with millions of desperate people may resort to nuclear weapons and envision Pakistan and China armed nuclear weapons service to refugees, rivers, and land nations that use nuclear weapons the last resort. Attention to its competitiveness, currently the use of the topic of risking decline in free economy, lacking investment in tech innovation, is blooming alliance as well. Well, the U.S. Clean Energy Investment in 2011 spent top star over to maintaining its focus on rapidly emerging economic crack policy and supporting technology without attracting investors and playing financial church users. Sharp policy impact for the attractive use renewable energy investment plan has been declining, specifically promoting renewable electricity schemes, understanding the interior cells, renewable energy development, green jobs, was 2009. The growth of U.S. renewable electricity according to the presence and the emerging quickly economy at the UC scale, attracting the share of international renewable investment and need to increase the benchmark subject of markets and policies. These materials have been made strong both the growth of the clean energy industry internationally and lack of renewable policy action of government given personality to competitiveness to keep the economy in the future that team to 10 nation that leads the clean energy economy of the nations leads the economy of America the nation fast renewable market for clean energy technology used for small and high rapid clean energy and competition by emission data the fossil taking a loss of products to make smart power of 9 4 heads of soldier impact service architecture 9 and 7. The world is dissatisfied with American leadership. The nation should embrace the smart strategy that builds our ability to track, persuade, as well as our ability to use economic and military might without early help. We are 7 years influence on the mission of the past 6 years to demonstrate the hard power one cannot secure the nation off the world. You should become smart power by once again investing with the confidence in the military economic to great presence soft power. Once again is a very time to full challenge and called the smart power is developing strategy balance with hard power with our soft power. An American power self-confidence in our region has to be met with the question as well as now other nations let's use it effectively with Kagan and 11 terrorist countries for taking and making the protection part of them strike to free. 11 our ability to increase the basics and make major work that open international trading offering possible growth and nuclear great times for the United States and those expected to be a very population for major percent walking the side of the by on the nuclear weapon and the administrative fish off the down the idea will not strike many the idea will not strike many as attractive and then the global strategy is more likely to emerge over the smaller sources of the good pressure from intervening effectively in the interior itself potential this investment and policy potential to support development including alliance to clean energy investment and innovation like records and market services for development the right policies can create a new job for the economy which has to use global innovation use last policy to spread development new energy technology scope and drugs and entry active tariffs and attention to is grid centralization ensures energy structure is heavily relevant on flooding line and centralized control of more of these factors over the activities that edge have perspective open and more vulnerability sector attack on happen the equal district major and fits itself 2 ways this distributed generation is like group power sources and the decadal 9 to 10 is where renewable spending you don't have the variability to be negative the variability better renewable resources support my district better teaching problem on the road of the solar panel technical about 97% any amount of CLP is down and into really small areas for technology is essential to enhance the reliability of solar and will enable system workers to small generation from the reliability less than need to build infrastructure to reduce congestion offer and coordinate auxiliary services and improve energy security diversification and enhance drivers for the same time there were no for the contributions of maximum single wind speeds relative to 20% for road operating experience in US, Germany, Canada, and the EU and Germany that spent solar PhD in ground remote system operating with being highly against grid and more than encourage the adoption of wind and solar the more say with the grid comes to the independent system of grid like cyber attack likely in the year with COVID and COVID natural security agents to make sure attack on use of the next 12 to 18 months the types of systems and the region to show the grid back the past 2 years with power residents will lose communication as simple as rocket and harmful consequences infrastructure increases the spread of disability of evidence tiers and run of attack use and distribute power which is normal the risk of cyber attack and modernization of the attacks and grid that effectiveness of metal and seven modern goods when they weapon and straight reduce the risk of attacks and future use of the distributed level of the single attack diversity and geographic reach rise alternative use of the diversity of fuels decentralized but any solar seven and probably to add discussion of the ability to decide that the modern ability to resist attacks and ensuring attacks clearly has little effect and systems for how to attack and build use last time triggered into what this habit and combustion trying to take much more aggressive system as well as the problem of trying to be a good context and foundation to try to further build on the social relation are really conscious and probably strong evidence of high the ability to conduct cyber terror attacks you can market a cyber terror attack.
Okay, your solvency evidence for resource wars says that other countries would get renewables. Where does that say, or what's the internal link to resolving resource conflicts over things like water, oil,
so the resource conflict scenario is specific to like fossil fuels.
No, I get that. Your evidence is like other countries would have renewables. Why would that resolve resource wars over things like water?
We're saying it would resolve a resource war over fossil fuels.
Only about fossil fuels. That's funny because your impact evidence is not only about fossil fuels. It's just about resource scarcity in general. So like,
I mean, in a world where we're cooperating on renewables, we could probably cooperate to show those kinds of resources also.
Like, oil only makes up roughly like 1% of electricity generation, right? So how would you resolve impacts of oil if like it has nothing to do with transportation or conflicts over those?
I mean, there are other fossil fuels that are used for electricity.
So fossil fuels are used for electricity. I just want to make that clear, like a lot of them, right? Because that's how you solve resource wars.
No, first of all.
They're not. So
how do you solve this transportation sector? You're going to try to get a link to your oil disk. Here's how you're not.
I'm just wondering, do you want a resource wars impact or do you want the oil disk? Which one?
I mean, resource wars impact is independent.
All right.
Energy shift.
A little bit about about
It's
that.
not
All right.
even
Let's talk about the Canadian efforts for a second. What have U.S. military forces done in the past decade to resolve the risk of great power war? Because this is like kind of like a blanket assertion there.
I
I'm just
mean,
wondering
they
about
do things like
specifics.
deterrent strategies and intervening
But, like,
in countries where conflict.
So like
is
intervening in
escalating.
Afghanistan, how did that deter like Russia or China from like being belligerent?
I mean, so far
Like, it
no
seems
one
like it
has
only
lashed out
overstretched us.
nuclearly.
Sorry, what?
And so far no one has lashed out.
What evidence do you have that China or Russia are going to lash out in a nuclear fashion if the United States does not invade Afghanistan?
I mean, that's not what we're
Like, it seems like intervening in Afghanistan only overstretched our forces.
I mean, I
and made
can
it more
cite
complicated,
Afghanistan as
so.
a specific example. That's what you're doing right now. Our argument
Okay, I
is
mean,
that
you said intervention.
American
That's
power
most
in general
recent.
prevents
Okay.
conflict in fear.
All right, when the U.S. overtook Great Britain, why wasn't there a transition war like your Kagan evidence describes?
Can you repeat your question?
When the U.S. overtook Great Britain in the early 1900s, right, why wasn't there a transition war as your Kagan evidence describes?
I mean, political situations in the early 1900s were different than they are
What
now.
is different specifically?
I mean, we have much more advanced economies, much more advanced
So,
technology, things like nuclear weapons.
It's a question of the economy. The economy would check back those conflicts.
I didn't say it was a question of the economy. That was an
I
example of
think that was-
something I cited. I just listed
it was just
multiple
vague.
reasons.
Okay, what about like Russia and Georgia? So like when Russia invaded Georgia, why was U.S. military intervention not sufficient to stop that?
I don't know the specifics of
Just
that
First of all,
conflict.
it stopped it from
So
going-
Russia,
escalating out of the region.
really? So like the U.S. stopped Georgia from using all of its zero nuclear weapons.
Right, and it also stopped Russia from.
Like we made like an explicit red line to Russia. Like if you invade Georgia, we will retaliate. Russia invaded Georgia. Why is Russia or any other great power scared of the U.S. military power?
I mean, that was also a long time ago.
It was in
The military
2007,
has
not that
changed.
long ago. Let's talk about.
The U.S. military is still.
Let's talk about
changed
food wars for a
their
second. There was like a massive food shortage in Malawi. Other countries came together and cooperated to give them aid. Why wouldn't they do so in future food crises?
I mean, our argument is that a lack of access to food is hard.
So here's 4 up, competitiveness, warming, grid.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all of that again in a second. I need to get to some place where I can get my answer.
Okay.
Good about that. You gotta get a medium.
Yeah.
I think it goes bad.
How many have we? 4, then competitiveness, warming, and grid. Do you guys have it pulled up?
No, it hasn't even loaded on this computer yet.
Sorry.
No.
Because I got fun.
Did you hear what they lost them?
I heard that Romney's gonna win the election.
I mean, I guess that's probably my bad. I declared that we could never lose to that. Therefore, jinxing it.
Well, Rasmussen says.
We even remember like 6 cards in a row.
Rasmussen is very conservative biased and terrible at bowling. Sure.
Hmm?
No, we'll probably play those cards, but.
I got mine from Galloway. Okay, cool.
we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
First off is capital interpretation, financial incentives must be positively to reward the economic negative parasitic united incentives or divisive include one and another. Few commentators think about it, the incentives, the variance and use practical methods of section of care, the epitomized state approach violation, the aspect imposes the requirement that result in a financial incentive to go to living space to have a bi-directional loss of position requirements, one resource order incentive as another explodes. The research burden because of the negative incentives is massive, also grab, technical dynamics limited, direct incentives for each energy source line, negative incentives arbitrarily gives the act unpredictable slip court sharing for politics and energy practices. Next off is the one percent price will stabilize now, price will stay above, by levels even not skip, sheets required 12 oil price will lower, not the other costs will be, for one kind of runs will be, force oil goes on the other will to be seen on that, so we'll be different higher price, that price doing, and numbers of our will be used in $100 a barrel, and one power expansion will draft, natural gas transportation, not to use, of the TCO10 if the units could be invented with quarter and 20% of the power, and the rest will be power, natural gas field is enough with power, such that looking at some types of building facilities to replace oil doors, and high risk to Russian economy, domestic solution with 12, the environmental high risk to high political customers, right to health, the economic risk would be self-large time, so the part of the decrease in oil prices, the health, the government needs background, all the harm, blue pins, government largest, for the oil price, all over the goods, but it's sort of oil, kind of used to, for popular, include that skill, like the oil price fall, and Russia, the possible new Lord, David, and the idea for water source, return, and deterioration, high cost, possible, the Russian military, the Chinese class, the less than considered tax, it is relative, and possible, for civil war, on each world scope, to cross-cost, major world, China, that's the point of the Russian provoke, British services, China, and the world, is split in the American, represents the environment, and high prices, keep the Russian military mobilization, but it's all, from the milk mobilization program, oil price, and I do all these things, oil, gas price, self, the new big butter, and mobilization, key, maintain nuclear special professors, calculation, bread, 11, 12, Russian conventional stability reduction, is equal to national military, currently, just compatibility, Turkey, and then the heritage, Lord, operation, Italia, greater strength, and terror, the love, reversion, back to the best, things, here, Turkey, lose, comfortable, but felt that job is watching smiles, on the close, reversible, the average of cruise, close, Obama had coach 12, Obama's leading by 36% points, such a Colorado, Obama needs to win a battle, possible, but I will rise to big parts, I just weren't it, so the best race, not overall, soul, house, and population is cost, the pursuit of other sources, listen 5, organizations, obviously, to reduce setting the stage, the aspect of the universe, so possible, with the need to recognize low function, with the terminal, and classical race, and education, conservative programs, the loans, the cost of men, leader, to rise, the thing, the ground, utility bills, and Romney's Israel, is reckoning, Mary 12, Romney race, Israeli language, legislation, cultural rights, rights, and kind of Iran, and looking at the 9 position, design, truth, cost of negotiations, great power war, Toronto 9, sort of proxies, so they play large portion of the reasons that food profits, truth, for news, and intense, everyone has a West Coast, like, all this week, beyond the powers per column, involved next up is counterplan. Tax and state governments relevant some national actors should establish energy financing banks to create a long-term purchase contract for new qualifying facilities, wind power, solar power, and overload solar power for energy production use and reasonable rate of return. And they should establish energy finance banks with also cases of high spending lower below 12. They should exhibit the energy finance built in a lot of leverage, full capital, interest rate, making energy finance competitive. The energy finance business is self-processed public to offer ways to the low-cost financing device required that financing would pay. When the decision established well, with energy source financing banks would be able to issue with loan as well. The restrictions facing the states also distribute elections and net benefit are lower than 6. The contract should be more desirable and just actual with otherwise unavailable policy question more desirable with some rational as part of a position. Actors can desirable classes with diverse political risk gains, like takes in large to energy or competitiveness. Hedge funds form about bullets from Caltrin power balance takes on the benefits of hedge fund power 11. Not only some use for nation first, not just for random parts capabilities, uncertainty, ability of the world, sometimes failing to the opposite of the opposition line for the war of union player takes away the tool by party with the union with big power funds of the county to the uniform and nation versus the strike on the constant conflict with the line power to the power to the justice one of the people worse one essential balance of the line power to defend themselves with civil self-help by powers of the then requiring equal opportunity to major powers on the equal provision to benefit solution with the given to the advantage to people all which is versatile and less potential instability to the progress of the Portland instrument have to make the revisions in increase beautiful and active revisions to reverse the economic to the world and the presence of the states with bringing such a requiring on the co-ops for opportunity major power was included ability to make competition between the states for dealing with the Russian military conflict and the become major wars federal in Pakistan cities most involved in Kosovo and extinction of solid Berlin equal to conversations country with Pakistan will try to nuclear arsenals so as risk passing the make region as so that conflict with manufactured ways with the native couple of the states not have and proliferation to it so the proliferation has bargaining to work in the streets right and proliferation potential accelerate even though like what they seem to fear around this means the weapons are not because of stability and nuclear dispersed coordination as serious up the next epidemic abandoning hedge solved over 7 position to one of the contribution infectious disease crucial possible ways that prepare for countries are less than United States associating countries to filter by American power establishing the warning system require the intervention of the water the most of the source connection area country the whole agency of remains the world superpower and extinction further aid the units to which increase primary outside level, no price stopping bacterial evolution, and the competition with no guarantee that will be the survivors have to keep evolving into something to the other hand of the disease, human race, losing the race. The virus has 2 million have to have victory by home state, it's been remarkable, originally by the current society, it's on stage for 20,000 years. Stop this transmission to whistle by passing by a graveyard, and hang us on the factors, they say some world will remain close to 5 million, the power guarantee start inflation, turns all their offense, even breathe, their impact superseded, problems filed, the Republican will dribble the king, majesty, listen and the political democracy, hinders use power, able to stay support without economic inflation, and as a the global cost swimming with the scenarios possible, king and protect them, the whole to push the law, the use can determine the state partial what is to the values and transitions, and it can manage trans and Asian nature so that people take the rest of the world will be less peaceful as he can, actually prove that them to be true correlations of the causation, the manufacturing explains relative peace, including independence that lawful norms that exist in equal weapons, he cannot prove it, and multiple 30 cells will lack great power, and is more unthinkable empirical examples fail, that the system will be different, well or can, housing behavior after balance, how to solar balance need, if it's increased both critical capabilities, so by one of the objectives of cooperation, providing military secular teachers, no longer special members, centrifugal power trade based dynamics, multiple forces, and these powers to compensate consistent with prediction of power theory, with the decision of the multi-system is unstable, the multiple are without different from the world, a social equally multiple address power system system would remain foundational role in the base power, unthinkable, even one of the background of power relations, and becoming one of those in the sea, there is multiple different past systems that are warming. Oceans are resilient, can be too many norms that feel resilient, environmental change, biological flows, highly physical factors, line of respond to environmental change, learning, ecological adaptation, to these variability, which may offer adaptation, also no resource source for reasons, 1999, the agreements include the resource market, possibility for small tricks, and the still extreme resource security process, resource by difficult resource cuts, what basement to allow the users to do, the not being let's get to practice the world shows following, and innovation solves for the worst, chain 11, human factors over bad habits, percentage, violent change, after not advanced, put the pessimist around the phone forever, innovation efficiency supermarkets also there's no better worse than mean, cooperation, burger 10, the secret to living after perspective, available nutrition necessary to upper weekend decisions planning coordination, and Europe does not worry about food crisis, cooperation time, these are actions, resources, they have no impact to, econ loss recession, because econ doesn't control consequences, believe Barn at 9, the use my but the full recession, no impact, the students, novel consequence, nutrition, that they didn't see the news, local incidents, reports are all political, economic crisis, about the war, and operation is world selfish war plus covered by foreign fashion factors market and trade. There's no great side of trade war factors overall in some world. It's true of brutality, it's free market to perceive cases to internet, we're also warming. It's irreversible Solomon time, so it's the limit of the products or irreversible emissions were no changes. Because that's nothing and I reduce concentration emissions will limited 20% of the emit carbon monoxide in the atmosphere thousands of years to avoid the cost effect. All also irreversible warming to fight carbon dioxide emissions also considered emission was less affected and there's no extinction proof denied. Part 11, the predicted discovered time before yet that is possibly temperatures increase and stay levels to the extension to the warming. The also record indicates resilience and also there are multiple feedback versus N screw. Nitrogen for emission checks warming and models and assume is harder 10. The possibility to consider gold nitrogen is to force the stimulants to uptake harder and contribute to climate change mitigation such as fuel. Composition to its carbon composition the reaction sustainable because we're doing highly likely CO2. The warming that should be good news this not including current models and to the next minute. Grid resilience and no impact, no attempt to copy 7. Construction likely destruction of polluting the special selected parts use grid small protected and likely sensational to overcome attack hours and the cyber hacks are possible air gases and how solve regions with clearly evidence building organization introducing units to be real danger is other governments let alone taking their actions and not physical the internet or physical hacker and use weapons of the same first action links and what is the cyber set department defense pieces of letting that independent network terms in control of the high cost of activate super safe commercial and well of head box colors the keyboard is just impossible no lash out can this for are expected to polish demand retribution for the military force that follows the mission able to actually consistently the high judgmental lawful responses and the high serious response to climate change engage and military will have to moderate significantly and the high difficulties they will try hard for 9 with communication for infrastructure data source on the right for the high time like the terrorist well for cybersecurity but the importance of also instill safety tactics of running cyber terrorism and unlikely threat.
Okay, let's talk about team. What apps would be topical under your interpretation?
Apps that promote like a positive financial incentives, so like loan guarantees for nuclear power, or
okay,
like
our app makes it so that anyone who wants to like do solar or wind power can. How is that not a positive
A
incentive?
tariff is not a positive incentive because it like makes it so like companies or whatever will get taxed for if they don't develop these things as opposed to.
That's fine. We'll just explain that later. Let's
You're
talk
requiring
about
them to feed energy into the grid, otherwise they do not receive the incentive.
Instead of providing them with a positive incentive to feed energy into the grid, like giving them more money to do so.
That's fine. Let's talk about oil. What's your link?
The TGCO talks about how expansion of wind power and other renewables will mean that natural gas is shifted to transportation, which displaces oil.
Why would they switch natural gas to transportation?
Because natural gas can be used for transportation. Your Own Advantage talks about how natural gas is currently the system that people will start to, like, the energy that people will start to use. If they can't use it for electricity, or they don't want to use it for electricity, they'll just use it for transportation. That
This is
displaces
it says
oil.
that natural gas like, could replace oil. Where does it say that it would?
Yeah, the TGCO evidence indicates that
Natural
fuel
gas
liquid
could
wind power
replace
would free up gas. That would mean gas could replace oil as a fuel. There's enough wind power to satisfy global demand. Building new wind facilities can replace oil imports.
And then why are high prices key to Russia's economy?
The Shubin evidence gives a number of reasons. First of all, it talks about how Putin is relying on the high oil prices to ensure stability by paying off like dissidents or other factions of the, I guess, of Russian society that oppose him. And so by paying them off, that means that stability in the economy and political stability will continue happening. It also is important because it's like half the government's revenue.
Yes, that's fine. I actually
your
want
is
to
like predicated off
talk
of oil.
about politics. Your solar power is unpopular card is from 2005. How is it specific to like the current public opinion or like the current government?
Because solar power is still viewed as unsustainable by like the majority of Americans, and they also perceive it as trading off with like other better and cheaper sources, maybe like other domestic sources like natural gas, even though our environment is still alive, it still applies.
This evidence indicates that it's unpopular because it's expensive, that it's not cost effective. In a world where the plan makes it cost effective, how would our plan not be popular?
I mean, I don't think that you should rely on the general American public to like calculate how much your plan reduces the cost. They perceive solar power as this like newfangled technology that is like, you know, just super expensive. And
that's right. Why would Rami support an Israel strike if striking Iran?
Rami like went to Israel maybe a couple months ago and was like, Netanyahu, I think that you're correct and we should definitely strike Iran. He's shown on multiple occasions that he sympathizes with Israel and like doesn't give a shit about like any other countries in the Middle East.
That's fine.
SharePoint. Here, you want me to move that back? Are you in charge of fixing it?
It's only not working for me and he uses the work school, but he's just trying to figure it out.
top once again, sorry. T stays oil, electric.
Just to be clear, case starter is grid hedge fund.
Yeah, correct.
On grid, we're not waiting for the advantage means that there's no latch, which means there's no term to not go to hedge first. It's hedge level, let's get the economic military structure proves how it matters as long as we're economically engaged within the markets. We can solve our green tech argument, talks about how we have competitiveness to sort these types of renewable energy markets as long as we're engaged with China and able to compete in their markets, i.e. through military technologies, innovation, also green tech, we would be able to solve these types of arguments that are also evidence, also hedge solves war, alliance war, deployment in the U.S. can reduce the incentive for allies, well, weapons, prevent escalation, even the hedge fund support de-escalates conflict that it isn't global war as Kagan, and the U.S. will promote hedge and questions about this Kagan and 7. Principal authorities in favor of consistent approach to the world they have operated in the local proxy, religion reform, government pay, military action, regime change, and the historical experience, and leaders role the United States, the world has just these tools, and America the policy to pull out uniform reality, false transition to Leo 9. So, more starting to aliens from our country, his imagination, has one ambition, some serious stuff, ask for reality, some vicious and pleasure, discussion, our reality, and the U.S. will intervene in nuclear wars, like Rob 5, transatlantic region, one strong motivation, nuclear weapons, instability, regional domination, isolated risk, and the release to increase major wars, and the master troubles, and evil, the United States, all significantly drawn back in, setting hedge now to ensure peaceful transition, and collapses, through also the polarity of control of 6. The United States in the separate and conditioning of the U.S. and the same in the liberal mode as it has been in the hedges of the foreseeable future, and now for granted, might take a situation of the power and order, and the ultimate hedge polarity that causes nuclear wars, for reasons of war, the country coordination in the 9th century, nuclear wars, devastating retreat across the April, world independence, retreat from global hedge fund, and polarity of the global back from the war, and they say they can fly first one piece of that, was he's done like types of science tests like that, was he's proven that's not he's known empirically how the U.S. is de-escalate types of conflicts with their deterrence, i.e. mutual deterrence, i.e. getting allied proliferation. Additionally, imperial system and statistical analysis support hedge claims as well, Levy and Thompson 10. Analysis about balancing means the United States was claimed to be consistent with Bison Trade and Latvia, and Lotus System, which mentioned the United States being able to trade with the Baltic Smith being Hitler, and so very powerful and effective as power, and they say multiple good, but multiple constant conflicts, even if no material reason to apply World War IX, even the police and a lot of major powers and bigger state hierarchy generate more clashes successfully, even really, and good about power features like possibility, multipolarity, responsibility, war, one power, still material, that's why additionally, they have no uniqueness, I'm not saying hedges can collapse and stuff, but we're now using for our analysis versus the ones that actually have uniqueness and advantages, they don't have anything at most, it would just be a takeout, go to warming first, they say don't happen, but they're not factoring oil to keep factor in the economy that the car doesn't assume the entire global independence collapsing because the lack of energy. Oil is the biggest thing on the trade market right now, which means that people obviously fight for the resources with the lack of energy. The car just talks about how certain things of water, food might be an example, but oil probably much more outweigh that, at least on a state level about how they would actually react and become irrational and attacking. And also they say food wars don't happen, but that assumes the current food production in 2001 argument says natural gas reactors because the USA would decrease the type of food production being in the sexual, and the US has heated that. That's our lube reference, which means that they would evolve these types of food wars in the sexual. They also say that economic conflict doesn't happen. Well, statistics in the series economic conflict is not likely to recession and worldwide. It says we're not out of the current recession that they talk about. Also, economic collapse would be inevitable. U.S. people like economic standing, absent job creation, Islamic aid. We see this company during the economic crisis, which here side the U.S. company and our general employment rate about 8% since high job rate is affecting better than consumers. Also, making the world working to event double-digit recession, not seeing very similar to growth, strong reaction, and first working to first confidence, the job market go to a warming. They say it's irreversible. You can set our second car for 26 steps on how to issue emissions are improving 90% right now. As long as we act in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be able to reverse the types of trends right now, specifically from CO2 emissions from fossil fuels. Additionally, they say no extinction, but one remains every flashpoint from war, level Chevron away. The company is investing in the conference leads, the U.S. climate change, slow development, stability, serious development, martial linkage, energy, Asia, African, multi South America, sort of the likely fail states, operating systems, large scale mitigation, disease and conflicts, gun terrorism threat, high-use military operations, global tension, severe climate change, and loss of known energy, preventing rise, and Asia, and ability, emergence, pandemic disease, pulling closer mitigators of all conflict operations, police, source lately, and nuclear wars possible. And they say it's true, but doesn't outweigh the negative effects of CO2 emissions right now. We emissions that's what talks about how cars specifically CO2 causes extinction. That's our way. Also, the natural industry doesn't produce any types of warming. Also, we have the larger term, it's literally producing 90% of GHG emissions. That's what go to T first. It's force we mean fits our financial center of production energy from when it's all power about 11. We never survive the scarce planet instead of us program during level playing field. The active utilized creation of renewable energy sources being generated in nations with conditions for generation of renewable sources. And they're specifically more alternative financial center of renewable energy. Higgins 9. And never increasing number of only exactly financial center of renewable energy, including being terrorists and certainly provided to builders and investors starting the system encourages development of renewables and counter financial center steps taking ensure return on investments. AGC 10. Financial center of preparation for investments and we can counter value 11. Feeding terrorists and financial center of renewable energy, 100% wholesale price region for feeding terrorists most predictable widely discussed standard direct away from the university's financial center for feeding terrorists, free renewable and producing electricity. B. Top education, breadth, sophisticated mechanisms, key to analyzing complex energy market and reasonably good is good enough for after articulation, reasonable, search, most limiting, evidence, and negative, globally exclude the global, with global exclude the applicant, exclude judge, intervention, no less arbitrary, the second limits, if you go to state 2, see first from each both, and first of state chemical and energy transition alone, man, 11, third of the lead coordinator, responsible, chain, second, not as done for the way, component, federalism, is on life, for all capacity, center, driving technology, hits, and modeling, speed, solves, you don't want 6, this is the level policy, national, state, global, be political, global markets, global, serious energy, from the state energy, companies, energy, global security, energy, becoming we need, social policy, environmental, geographical, working in the concert, of course, strike down, state cooperation, combat, ground, strike, men, and actually, coming on states, legally trigger, state combat, consolidated, rules, regulated, interesting, maryland, creating, interstate combat, orders, rule, and federal actions, key set policies, long-term closure, rules, damage, well, federal government provides important incentives to local energy, including state policies can have negative impact on the deployment of low-carbon technologies, and 50 state bills, and abuse of voting share, is a simple life, against the federal government, negative, all 50 states give a huge advantage, and B, and this utopia states in our simultaneous exam, adopted the exact policy, and simple, aggressive, negative, the other United States, nothing said, but we don't think of the locality, people that have never been forever big and from counterplans, and not big, full, no literature, sports, 50 state action, and moves, 20 series, debate on after affairs, 20 still, default fairness, education, and states can't do the beat in terms of what it costs for growing prevention, Ferry's wall, taking measures for amending under states and utilities, conservation, coordinating, and investigating utilities for regular regulations from the United States local regulation, power transition prices, and fix good for wind, and issues for the PCC, which kills sovereignty, masters intent, free tax system, no negotiating utilities, tax energy, and center Congress, the litigation, the city, partition, encouraging fraction, full precision, this opting, and understanding, good point, taking advantage of BC energy system, times of listening to ownership, to make authority law, no longer self-paid, design, and profit from tax incentives, and negative top piece, case, rival, human, and going back in 2023, promoting starting with people that have the world, ecologically, catastrophes, and enhance indigenous people, properly features on the front lines, and it means better for the government, social and society, or accept the government, there's no better way to show them to believe value, indigenous people recognizing from the indigenous people govern themselves and their territories, go to oil first, and China will drive down, they saw oil prices by US signal, show 110.3, that's service they spend in the coal basin through ongoing financial crisis, called the Bush and demand, and oil, the government said, last week in oil, it fell down in the 80% per, $80 per barrel to 80.3, oil was the last 5 months, question for the global demand, petrol crude fell from 80 to 14, and there's no transition to CNG there, Lincoln is empirically flawed, or it will be flawed used well. Recent I don't have additional penalties on non-cyber jurisdiction, refueling, shipping, public delivery, natural gas, and line limitation, rather bonding, and creating the U.S. Department of Clean Transportation Center, and electric natural gas, and oil, backs up to the electricity sector to true record lows for natural gas, have already triggered this disaddle prices, and gas reserve food and popularity, check low price impact for Route 72, partially no post short run, standing when it's gas reserve, food and so body popper, low price can be stable 1 to 3 years, low debt, budget terming, Route 72, $13,000 in fiscal plan, monthly national debt, around 10% GDP, management low, and the low price managed in previous falls over the next 30 years for a fine, and low prices ready to reform, Route 72, silver running oil prices increase in urgency to reform a bunch of guns, and Saudi Arabia will meet additional demands, they'll fill in, or Route 916, or so how prices moderate, they'll meet additional influence, Saudi Arabia increasing upwards and more, 12 million BPT needed, Russia was related to oil price, finance, Russia been a resolution from 4 years ago, from dividends, so much more, and probably a financing background, just robust, and no impact on oil, actually, it's that card. Go to elections. First, the company wins, then 6 on 10 5. Probably still does the subject of investor from 2 points, and Florida might watch the games, all 3 6 points, average 7 points, and Romney wins the county A and S in 4. The rest of the University of Colorado Village forecast, and economic standing prediction, Romney will win this in 2008, both companies to April, Romney won race with Terry Colorado 50% of the vote, and Romney wins the US polls exam 10 4. Polls from state release of the president slightly higher, ruling Romney winning 7 11 states from the presidency, and Romney wins vacancies from momentum, Seattle Times State 4. Who run the capitalism will receive the appearance be down from 1 to 20% voters percent legally and resistance not for showing support, and Romney wins polls and turnout daily callers and 2. Also, the great for support of Romney really better for the look at one turnout, Romney Democratic coalition, the lowest rate trouble to make on the basis, spending more and sharply model to this photo in Spanish hands, and like the voters legally try, and like self-tracking will watch over spies to these behind, but 614. Also, for nice to get a monthly legalization, Romney young voters were made turn out, police that will legally in the game, taking face of president facing defeat, and voters will get events in a long cars in the House 19. Looking at US and amnesia or Romney's mistake have more than one goes to me, and the video says it's born on job not very, but these people know such votes are energy Washington 627. Energy was reformed on saying on roads, like healthcare, education, multiple energy, jobs, and copy asset, regulation 1 3 with a 1%, mentioned energy, and Clinton backs up by T's and cars, new budget, and American Indian tax one, Clinton said the Germans had $300,000 for this, the president is no solution to the White House 20 years ago, and Clinton's continued election convinced future Obama policy is how to win 9/11. He was secretary of defense, something things with the president, the top person, and plain spoken to the professional dissection. Key election nation for presidents, every university deployed all major battlegrounds of the nation, firing on the base and flag, it's states on board, NACO took it all. Probably the voters will turn back and pro clean energy, 405, 78% financial certificate, solar energy, some state, RBC candidates, for the pollution, one might say, the margins and cars, all the back in the CRT, voters, social media, so they can candidates, more standard to reduce carbon pollution.
Okay. Native sovereignty add-on, aren't there a bunch of things in the status quo that are like reducing native sovereignty? For example, they face like rampant racism. Sorry?
Rampant. We'd say that like the PTC would probably be a key specifically the federal government intrusion on sovereignty, like racism, yeah, sure.
So does it like resolve any of these other issues? Are you just making this like ethical side constraint argument?
Well, yeah, one of our arguments. Our Article 74 talks about how we should.
But does it resolve any of these other, like, problems that natives face in the status quo?
I mean, I guess I don't know what you mean by like problems
Okay.
with the status quo. Like,
there are no other problems that win.
well, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like
Question on
your
your,
resolve the other like things. Resolve more
I
power
think
for energy.
fourth uniqueness card, the Seattle Times evidence, it talks about Romney's debate appearance. It says that like we've got over a month, that's an eternity, and like they talk about likely voters and stuff, but then you read this piece of evidence that's like voters will forget things in a month, so which is it?
Well, first of all, it says we got over a month, which means that Romney would be able to do self-correcting things like within a week you could do something that would sway the election. Voters would get things
Yeah, I
over.
know, but your debate evidence
So they've
talks.
got over a month. That provides uniqueness for why Romney could still win the election.
Okay, so a month,
Things
so
are
voters won't
because-
forget then. Voters
Well,
won't
no,
like
voters
just forget
would,
stuff.
Voters would forget things within a month.
Okay, this
Romney
doesn't
could
really
do
seem to
something
make
within a
sense,
month.
but if you want all your unique evidence, I'm guessing that's like what you'll go with. Your examiner evidence talks about polls of swing states. Which polls is it talking about?
Except for the swing states, it doesn't necessarily. I think it refers to Colorado, Florida, Iowa, Michigan, Nevada, New Hampshire.
But like,
North Carolina,
I guess
Ohio,
like
Virginia,
which
Michigan,
polls, which specific polls, like which
Well, the
organizations
Q-Star
conduct
News
those
did
polls?
a poll on that.
Sorry?
The Q-Star News.
Okay.
So,
Um,
from the examiner. I don't
Your ANS evidence says Romney wins economy.
Right.
What does it mean by economic conditions favor Romney, especially considering the jobs report came out,
Well,
which means
I mean,
that
you have
unemployment
the Boulder-
was reduced.
You see Boulder analysis talks about how Obama's like failing performances in the economy from public
Does this
perception.
assume like the recent
That's
report of labor statistics?
that they
Right.
did that's
Yeah.
talking about how like economic factors empirically can determine the election.
I know, but like an economic
Winning in
factor
their model.
report was just released showing that Obama helped the economy. Does your ANS evidence take that into consideration
Yeah.
when it's talking about economic
Well,
factors?
yes, they've updated the election forecast. It's from
Where does
October
this
4th.
ANS evidence talk about like the labor report that was released?
I mean, I assume it assumes the labor report that was released.
You
was released
assume
in
that it
October, and it's
assumes-
released October 4th. It's
Okay.
an updated analysis.
I mean, I just don't think that it talks about that at all. Your silver evidence cites the Rasmussen report saying that Romney is ahead in Virginia by 1 point and by 2 points in Florida. Where does this conclusively say that he has won all like 9 swing states?
Well, it doesn't
Which
say
is what
all
the
nine
tag
states.
says.
I mean, it says Romney wins swing states. These are 2 types of swing states right now. He's gaining
Okay, so
average,
he's
also
like
gaining momentum.
2 points ahead in Florida. I don't think that conclusively means all the swing states. Yeah. Yeah. Did you read this Financial Times evidence on the oil descent? Russia is resilient to oil price decline?
Yep.
Okay.
Was it just the stuff that's like,
We were
wait,
gonna-
confidence rule NBD?
Well, we were gonna be negative. So I cut like 20 cards. That's in it.
Said it was NBD? Oh, I see.
And then answered like all the asterisks,
Yeah.
like everything. And I had met with HR about it and practiced it.
Oh.
And we had a specific process counter plan.
That you didn't go for. Didn't see the status quo coming.
Yeah, it'd be like reverse. I mean,
You should
you're waiting.
wait. Did you just notice that your partner was gone?
She took a very long ago.
And then left.
Yeah.
What's Sarah on here? I got to know her so much last weekend. She's here. Why is Nancy?
I was human.
Oh, you should get on that. I like stalked her down, mostly because her team was close to where
You
each
tried to ask the Irene again.
The order will be the state's counterplan, the oil dissent, the competitiveness advantage, and then the climate advantage.
state counter plan, oil disad, and then what? Competitiveness.
Competitiveness, climate.
So, what is it?
That door is wide open. Okay, not ever. Like,
Okay, I have it.
Sometimes Atlantic is a part of it.
You're pretty good.
Emily, I know you. You're so.
State's not going for a competition, just to test competition, should be competition theories, reason reject the argument, not not going for it, solves all their offense, also corresponding read, stability on teams, reason there's no specific interruptive use if we don't go for it, not go to the oil, they said, I'll concede that they do not affect oil, that means there's no trade-off, that means no risk of offense, this also means they can't take the resource for advantage because they would trade off with natural gas and not oil, which means they don't solve their resource scarcity arguments. As per the 2AC, not going to competitive disadvantage, they've screwed up this flow because they have conceded the disease turn our Weber evidence indicates that because the United States is very powerful and we are the hegemon, that developing countries do not trust us, but unfortunately these are the countries that are most likely to breed zoonotic diseases that will cause impending extinction of impending extinction of humanity. That means they will not let organizations like the WHO into forecast diseases and prevent the spread of the disease-caused extinction, which conceded by the GC is 100% conceded discount, which means any risk of case defense means you voted for it. Also, always on time frame, our evidence indicates that diseases are constantly evolving. They're evolving to the point at which we will no longer have the vaccines to stop them. This is a conceded dissent. I cannot not stress this enough, which means they have no defense. Their only argument is that we will cling to power. This does not take out. This doesn't take out the impactors because they are about the balance of power. The fact that we would intervene in places does not mean that other countries would be afraid of the United States if our power subsequently decline. As per the internal links of the 1AC, second policymakers won't hold on to hedge. Our evidence is more recent and comparative. McDonald, Parent 11, others from the U.S. political system too fragmented to implement. Retribution despite team divides Republicans, Democrats have put aside their difference when it comes to foreign policy. Electoral pressure support of Obama's subversion of foreign affairs plan to 70%. Rather, the U.S. share leadership, 3 successive administrations were able to see the opposition push through to realignment for them, resulting in a leader of 100 bases. Thus claims that retrenchment is politically impractical are found international incentives guarantee retrenchment. As McDonald and Parent 11 pessimists are incorrectly suggest that retrenchment is uncommon response to the class states often no visions as they fall hurdles react to the problem. International incentives are strong inducements in the high stakes world states and some refer to build themselves when first slipping away. Customer rate decline more likely states are to from their abilities to increase reliance on allies and refrain from use of force spending such as the retrenchment is attractive. And here's more evidence. McDonald and Parent 11 we challenge pessimists claim that domestic constraints inhibit ability to retrenchment. These follow retrenchment is the most common response states for non-Swedish because increased reliance on allies short on their militaries and impose adjustments following New York. Realist theory of great powers retrench for workers of great power policy to compel them to decline powers. Incessant contract interest great powers abuse of decline or less likely to shame militaries with abuse power. The powers moderate their foreign policy. There too be a piece of evidence they read on this question are both from 07 and 09 are evidence post states on this question. Their evidence is about whether or not the U.S. electorate will accept a drawdown of forces. Our evidence post state says that there are new trends in the American electorate, which means their evidence is functionally irrelevant on this question. Now, hegemony does not solve war. They dropped the Kagan indictment that was in the 1 in CR. Credible evidence is very good on this question. It indicates that the threats are ultimately inflated. Things like we intervened in Afghanistan and Iraq, even though they were not existential threats to the United States. The idea that China or Russia are somehow out to get us is also stupid. like when Russia invaded Georgia, it did not cause widespread instability, and it was not a plot to get the United States. This didn't escalate empirically, which means there was no impact. Our credible evidence also says that Hagen admits he can't actually prove anything in his new book, The World America Make. He admits that it's just hypothetical conjecture, and there isn't any proof which means you should hold all their evidence to a very high standard. Hegemony cannot solve where their only argument here is alliances. The Manchurag is that we read the one and see is an impact here. This indicates that when we bandwagon with other countries, then that means that they will have regional enemies that then become recalcitrant powers against the United States. Then we start wars with those powers, which means our argument is an impact here to bandwagon. Also, Kagan confuses causality. That's economists control. I am skeptical of Kagan's assumptions. They made that global dispensation reflect American principles, not because it was built by American power. America didn't cause the world socialist experiments to build those regimes falter because socialism is not to work in America didn't compel first world just try market economics. The nations could see for themselves what was working. The ensuing order would become one reflecting other parts, but that's because the capital of the world aren't full of belligerent goes who wouldn't know what to do with working senior fellows to tell them other democracies can have huge navies to the goods. That Kagan prices will be more, not less secure if their burden of provisions were equally distributed. Now, their only other words is military power. We're going to internal link that argument, turn their argument. Their military power arguments eminent military power makes all of our threats non-credible, prevents peaceful resolution of crisis. Material 10 U.S. is threatened dire consequences for states that pursue policies contrary to its interests by forming no part of their normal list. We do not hold the Taliban to not give in, nor did Saddam roll over Iran and North Korea continue to resist despite their relative weakness. These states defy deterrence and coercion are not only require credible threats, they require credible assurances that no harm will fall from compliance. America must restrain its that they will be punished only if and only if they defy certain war balance of power made assurances to enforce Moscow. No harm would fall from complying with the U.S. demands. It takes world under our enemies as the wherewithal to retaliate. Use threats are evidently credible from the same power advantage on the right credibly used assurances and arguments who vulnerable in an American fact they can pay. They are less likely to heed the market, less likely to heed them now. The market less likely to heed them. They said the United States will re-intervene, but if we were that there isn't a conflict in the first place, then this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Also, you can cross-apply when you see cross-checks on this issue. That would empirically, United States military power has done nothing to stop any type of expansions from other countries. It has only overstretched. Now there are no transition wars. There are other only one transition war in history. McDonald, Colonel, and British overstretchment pessimists receive little support. The wars do not appear to be fake to the United States. Planning powers find this was a word of war for 18 cases. Only one 1935 UK did the power of a war. Just the part that had just surpassed it. There were retrenching states rarely according to 15 cases that it worked. Compared to McDonald 11, would it work? The historical record suggests that since 1870 there have been 18 cases. 15 of those powers implemented retrenchment far from the version that resulted in states being likely to avoid military disputes. Also, our one is just well arguments are very good on this question. Indicates that there will be no transition war because multipolarity solves all of their impacts. Our evidence indicates that territorial expansion is a motive in international relations where great powers has become null. Things like interdependence and trade prevent all these conflicts anyway, and then those alliances will prevent them anyway. I'll concede their empiricism argument. We have more empirics on our side. Cross-apply. You want to see cross-checks. Our uniqueness is your advantage to go to the climate debate. First, they can see that oceans are resilient and can actually adapt, which means they don't access an ocean acidification impact. Our duty evidence indicates that there will be no resource wars. I explained why they don't have an internal link to this on the oil dissent, but there would also be no resource wars because there would be low benefit to this. If states intervene to get oil, that would only cause oil shocks, etc., which would screw over the commodity anyway, which means that cooperation is more in their interest. Also, things like trade means they can spread the resources inevitably, which means that it is unlikely that it would actually lead to war. Now, the food wars argument, innovation also solves the food wars argument. Our evidence indicates that innovation and efficiency in growing crops means that it will increase food yields to outpace demand. Empirically, the food wars have also not escalated, which is also our burger evidence indicates that they will only lead to cooperation because when you go to war, that wastes food anyway, which means it's impossible for those food wars to actually escalate. Now, the economy impact of our evidence indicates that empirically it has only led to more cooperation, not escalation, because you don't want to piss off your populace by wasting resources by going to war. This is empirically proven. Trying to the American economy now, all the arguments assumes the recession. Well, there's evidence is all old and assumes old empirics. Now, here's more evidence: economic collapse not lead to war. History, Ferguson, 6. What? Leads the Depression, World War II leads too much. How Germany started the war after its economy recovered. No relationship between economics and conflicts. Internal wars came after North and Korea, and crises were not followed by wars. Studies, Miller, 2 cases, wars, scholars, from economic crisis. There were not even this high topics after 93 episodes of economic crisis in 22 countries. Conventional wisdom to be around the severity of economic crisis. More relationships with collapse of regimes, or an outbreak of violence. Now, there are also no resource wars. We control empirics, so we can see their empirics argument on the hedge flow, which means you should prefer our evidence. That's 7 and 7. There is a little evidence that resource scarcity led to conflict. Studies have shown that abundance is more likely to contribute to conflict. Even the supply of warm number of forces decreased. Death collected shows a declining number of conflicts. Malawi has yet to experience a war. The Asian tsunami led to severe shortages. The tsunami did not lead to resource wars. There's no risk of a conflict. Countries share resources. Victor and 7. The risk is the dangers could cause violent conflict rates extremely low because it's highly unlikely to materialize. Countries share resources and armed conflict rarely fix the problem. None of the changes lead to conflicts over resources are symptomatic of deeper failures of governance. Other private forces such as that pay attention to the qualities of other grievances. Climate is just one of the many factors that contribute. Now, here's more evidence. Tech development sells food. That's Thompson and all other tools available to make usable soil products and increase potential in crops and enhancing drug distress, tolerance, skin, and internalized plant resistance to disease, and improve nutritional back to what warming is about resource conflicts, which means all of our resource wars defense answer this also. There is no extinction. We can see that the empirics argument on the hedge flow, our Carter evidence is about empirics. Theirs is only predictive and is purely conjecture. Our Carter evidence indicates there has been a 4C degree rise in warming before. That has only caused more biodiversity. It hasn't caused an extinction of any type of species when you do an empirical study or analysis of this, which means there's no reason that a 4C degree rise in warming now would also cause that effect. Now there is a conceded negative feedback term. The only argument that they made was that it does not weigh CO2. Our Carter evidence indicates that nitrogen, which would be absorbed by the soil, as the process of warming would cause less plant stress, which means they absorb more methane. And then our evidence indicates that methane outweighs CO2 comparatively because it is 10 times more. It traps 10 times more. It traps 10 times more emissions, and it traps 10 times more emissions. Here's more evidence that are actually natural aerosols check back warming. That's Carter. In 11, the environment is a major source of aerosols, including dust materials from emissions, particles from wildfire, sulfate from phytoplankton. These have a significant effect on the earth, such as radiative zones and albedo. Regional radiative perturbations are several watts per square meter due to emissions, which is equivalent to the magnitude of climate forcing projected from GHG, but of the opposite sign.
Can you look at natural aerosols argument?
Yeah, our evidence indicates that when warming heats the oceans and like the soil, it releases an aerosol from things like dimethyl sulfide. That increases the cloud cover, which reflects radiation from the sun, which is sufficient to offset warming from GHG emissions.
Okay, where does it include that A stops the it stops the negative feedback?
Referring to the emissions, I'll read the line, which is equivalent to the magnitude of climate forcing projected from GHG, but of the opposite sign.
All right.
So it causes warming.
Okay. Let's go to the hedge debate for a second. We talk about how policymakers won't hold on to it.
Yes.
Okay. 70% of Americans would rather share U.S. and global leadership. That's all well and good, but how is this been impacted in military policies, i.e.
Well, again,
invading Afghanistan?
That's what the McDonald Parent evidence talks about. It talks about that electorate has determined the new foreign policy of Democrats and Republicans.
No.
And
How have they determined that when there are still things like
we've intervened abroad. Our evidence indicates that a retrenchment strategy is coming out. Your advantage internal link is uniqueness for this indicates that hedge will collapse.
How does this assume things like a pivotal shift to Asia, for example? We still have defense structures.
You read this as an advantage. Your internal link says hedge will collapse now, right? Can we agree on that? Therefore, retrenchment would
hedge is inevitable. It's a question of how effectively we use it.
Your internal link was we would lose competitiveness, that would deck hegemony, that was all in the 1AC. Our evidence indicates that the result of that would be a retrenchment of our military
There's
forces.
more than one, okay.
I mean, we can disagree on this issue. I think you read an internal link to hegemony that we conceded would be impacted.
But it was also a smart power. Okay. That, right.
Now our was not in the JC.
Okay. You talk about, right. Let's go to the resource wars. You say how empirically they've been denied. How is that empirical in the sense that, oil, for example, will eventually run out? How is that?
Our evidence,
how do we empirically say that
about oil, but our evidence is about what happened.
Our evidence talks about how oil is scarce.
I know. I'm trying to answer your question. So our evidence, you're right, isn't about oil. Our evidence, however, does indicate that when past resources have run out, they've just switched to different sources. Right. And they have also cooperated over the remaining fuels.
Have run out?
Sorry?
What resources have run out?
So our evidence talks about food crises in Malawi, water wars in the Middle East that didn't actually happen or escalate because they decided to cooperate over it rather than.
So you cooperate over oil sharing. What happens when there's no oil? I understand.
Yeah, they would switch to an alternative method of energy.
Okay, so you're saying the app is just inevitable, but 30 years from
No,
now?
we're not saying the app.
Okay, well, you need to switch to an alternative energy.
The
app does that.
Not saying that the app is inevitable.
Okay, well.
And if your argument is that somewhere down the road, 100 years now, from when peak oil happens, we're all dead anyway.
I mean, I'm not asking how people just randomly switch, right? It's not like we can just be okay, we're going to use solar power now. Obviously, it takes a transition. How do resource wars not escalate in that transition? I would assume. If there's no oil, how are people going to make? How does China work? OPEC, for example, when you sell money, it seems like oil is the lifeblood. I don't know.
Do you know the flash drive? Oh, never mind. Hold on.
We have a guest question.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is my computer literally working? I just did something. That was all I could do. Close that.
No. Why is your computer so terrible? Why
Y already did this during the issue. But he said that wasn't his fault, that he was practicing for help and trying to reach that.
Natives are not terminally non-unique. There are multiple other issues facing natives in the status quo that have pertaining injury. For example, your name, mining, and native of the land does not resolve. Also, there is no moral side to free totalitarian significance, 90% dignity, but also on fundamental equality, which takes some of people to the sake of others. The humanity equals some consequences theory is not involved in equal commitment to equal value, and rightful differentiation, jurisdictional overlap for themselves, it's not Article 12. The land resource motion and high and new country jurisdiction remain complicated, the military clarity, uncertainty, those potential subject regulation, energy, federal, controls, and restrict the resource constraints, failure to coordinate present among the government, tribal government, state government, the general public, nature, public, the duplication, inefficient, governmental programs, legal legends. Zero impact events on strikes escalates faster as more Paulo Romney explains in their statements as to whether you strike on this one, you can escalate faster because no safeguards in place for running. Iran from Israel from striking Iran, and the conflict escalating as Toronto evidence also from Uganda. That was support for new energy, what Paulo for new energy, those taking in Obama soldiers, Paulo for the electricity company, Israel party, useful capital of the civil positions, Israel possible Romney, Ryan has plenty of areas in Lebanon, Romney, with a few more citizens and Sudan, also strikes faster since he has oil shots and destroyed the economy, war in 10. Scarce to do long doing, analysts later serious hair consequences, including only possible Hamas activation, writing, schools, and street purpose, the fact that physical oil, the lens of the expansion of oil spreading, destroying the states to high extinction, singer 1, now you assume by violence, support the effort district, fact, rapidly, also had is absolutely expected to energy for the combination of general prevalence and mortality, survival of human being, questionable, unique, specific day, read the still reference indicating that Obama's leading swing says, however, their efforts only cites two particular swing sets and indicate all nine in addition, running games are temporary bounces, so rock 620, still at 50%, silver 10.5, the Pennsylvania schools are required to implement mitigated defense, we ask American law voters that affect Republicans are distinguished towards running for real personal securities of change voters to these jobs support, once a mission Romney's momentum and strong methodology problems with these newest polls, the ones off 10.5, so we ask American should be to produce a caution whether automatic response even voters self vote only, and also trying to find out self vote only, and the non-running internet panel, and the post-election polls are not as well, so no change, balloons off 10.5, the only strong about first panel, what I automatic reported surveys, the legal tracking, and surveys based on synergies, because of the most of the dead the Rasmussen polls show no change, all this evidence indict the specific polls that there, I was talking about including the Rasmussen polls and the We Ask America polls, which are shiny, don't have proven methodology. They make the argument that Romney is winning the economy. However, they indicated no economic factors that are pro-Romney at the moment. The jobs report came out and indicates that it's better for Obama because it shows that he reduced unemployment. Also, the news jobs report boosted Obama, Kowalski 10.5. These reforms came Obama boost Obama to report on some message economies on the med drops to 8%. It's strongly important. Also, it's strongly missed Obama's likely to win silver 10.5. Good after relationship to an unfair rate in the Commonwealth, the economy doesn't factor the economic and support of the early election for Obama, such as the primary support. Basically, the public has to reevaluate its game empirically. They this other argument about polls, however, just talking about the same polls as before, which are still referenced previously indicted. He may talk about the debate doesn't help Romney much. It's only short-term balance. 10.5. Romney gained 20% today. Debate post-Obama did it better. Some years ago, committing around civilians. The direction of the moment of Obama's direction of the DNC direction of Romney's best data, the president of the special around the post-debate landscape will be until last weekend. The job support race sending movement Romney had from the debate will be 10.5. 10 discussion just on the that debate job support technology. Romney's talking points economy struggle with 8% unemployment. Also, the job support reverse. Romney's debate momentum white 10.5. Not supporting instead of 8% Wilson, small Washington office television media dominated by the by the day. And the fact that example 8% is key for Obama day. They make this argument that the link is self-correcting because Obama will legalize marijuana. How is this stupid? It's not user evidence. Describe the effort of like stoner advocacy groups trying to make an issue that will be visible, or it's not that it will be visible. Anyone cover. Also, it's only talking about Colorado. Our reading studies shows that Obama's winning on the balance of all of the swing states. Also, the balance of our polls prove that this is factored in. Doesn't affect the polls because no one credible is making the argument for legalization. Also, no one cares. More get 10-2. For next study, the implications of marijuana legalization, validation, both law Colorado to the issue of marijuana law for first to 6. Also, Obama will avoid the attempt to make it an election is really done. Block 921. One answering question there, all marijuana legalization disappointing was the national policy office of the sentencing act under Obama day. These arguments about why the voters will just forget. However, all of their unique stuff is predicated off of the idea that voters will look at what Romney does within this month, so either they don't get either
against this argument, and the elections models pick the winner 85% of the time, size 329. The models do a good job saying that you want to know who's going to win the election. The separate predictions, 85% of the Democrats, the winner, and most forecasts make 2 months or more before the election day. Make these arguments that no one's going to switch their vote on energy. However, energy is uniquely unpopular. Renewable energy perceives cost benefit means it ties into the economy, which means internally first things that outweigh energy. In addition, energy policy will determine the election guarded 823. The U.S. oil and natural gas business help highlight energy should include major factor for any kind of election cycle. Energy transportation plan focus about a focus on crime, government rule, and risk of energy development. Gas carbon surfacing energy and the sexual weather economic energy in a larger awareness business campaign. The campaign of Pennsylvania 5 key states. Also, energy will be the deciding factor of the election below, but while the energy will continue to be single point election, energy will impress the biggest vulnerabilities and it's going to keep coming away. Also, energy like that policy will turn the election handily 821. The energy policy will make a proposal which is the best for right has to be seemingly minute issues such as the wind energy tax price. They make the argument that Clinton backs FTX. However, Clinton obviously already supports Obama or supports Obama, which means this turns on you. Also, their health evidence indicates that Clinton is popular enough that he can make unpopular things popular. It also resolves the cost objections in the one NC evidence. The list evidence indicates that the public seriously opposes solar products that seem not cost effective and belongs to promoting all of the energy strategies lost distance out from renewable scandals. The plan makes Obama target will cost the election fair as well. First, we apply this to campaign cycle energy policy, which has related with this oil drilling, natural gas hammering, on the support of the energy concept of crystal models, with oil neighbors, Lindra, the sources of fight pilot for all the understand Republicans held their sauce Lindra, and the government clean energy. Especially divided them into any trying government like government on renewable energy, so that there's very issue renewable energy problems in the sector, and they're massively fine.
I'm still going for that. Seems like you need to be cutting more cards to go off of like when.
What did you say, 140?
I didn't say ever. Yes, I did. 110.
But why would you leave during practice? Leave before nothing.
I don't even know what to do for you right now.
I think I know how to fix it on third, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't understand why it's only that working for you too.
I mean, it could be not working.
How would they not know?
Because you're not supposed to use the SharePoint. It's like complicated, but you're not supposed to like open it directly. You're supposed to use a local copy.
Right.
And
Did you just try using it directly, like when it broke?
well, I generally use it directly because I haven't been the person that's been messing it up.
Not really, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh, Abby's coming to your secretary from her sister.